I'm Ben and I've played for Kewford Eagles for 11 years, so from under 7s to under 17s this year. It's also like being part of a community where you make new friends. That's quite useful, like if you go to a new school.
I think what makes Kewford Eagles successful is the fact that we have our feeder group that starts at about 5 years old, and then the teams run all the way up through to the 17s and 18s and also senior teams. So there is something there. We have everyone, obviously from the Football Foundation, where we have got funding from them, and also Sport England, Birmingham County FA, obviously there's a lot of...
So we had to look at all manner of and different sizes of funding. The big ones were from Landfill Tax Credit Scheme, Corrie, Ipswich Corrie, Staffordshire Environmental, and we went to others as well, depending on how close they were. But they were around about £100,000, £30,000, etc.
We wrote hundreds, if not thousands, of letters to people, so we've got a really long list of people who we approached and we were able to get funding from. And I think we were just looking at about 5%, we did get some quite massive funding from them, which obviously helped a great deal.
The original ideas we started back in 2001, and that was based on what we'd seen, what I'd seen, and communicating that with the rest of the committee. What you see, maybe in small pockets around the country, but certainly abroad, where they've got a very, very good record of things in evidence about quality community clubs. Well, that's one of the big things. I mean, we've currently got a club around about 500 players at the moment, but we're looking at something which should get to about 850. So the disability football, we've already got a very strong section in disability. We've got over 50 players, and we probably expect to grow that as we go forward. I guess the big frustration was that we were taking, and we were told that we would take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and for volunteers that's hard to swallow. The other thing I think is just typical of organisations. You have to have the wholehearted backing of the organisation behind it. Fortunately, we had a very strong steering group which we set up early on, which worked apart from the committee. I think the Black Country Sports Partnership, working in Sport England, working also with Staffordshire, SASOs as well, they were very helpful. They came out, they met with us on site. I think, unfortunately, the local councils are hamstrung by the money that they've got. It's totally different abroad. If you go to Holland, 90% of their investment comes from local councils and 10% comes from the government. I think the private contractor who got the bulk of the work and then subcontracted it out, certainly went out to local electricians, who will probably be going to in the future for maintenance and fixing. So same with the plumbing contractors, subcontractors.
And then I could probably come back and maybe coach a young team and then take part in a feeder group and get young people into sport, because I've already been through it, so I know how to teach them and the experience that they can get from this football club.